This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com. Hi, welcome to Review Corner. My name is Rob Orn. Today we are going to be talking about, yes, HammerQuest, Shadows of Hammerhal. Very interesting game, and you know, something I expected but I didn't expect, but I've got to tell you, again, how can you go wrong with the quality when you have quality like this? Just typical Warhammer, Games Workshop quality minis. Just absolutely beautiful. We've got these guys painted up, and we're just excited. We were just excited to play with it. But the question is the game any good? Is it Silver Tower just redone, or is it more? I guess there's only one way to find out. Let's head down. Alright, so let's talk about this. We're not going to cover every role like I always say, but we are going to give you a quick gist of what's going on. Now, if you saw our live play Friday, we really went over it, so you could check that out on my YouTube channel, Rob Orn. But let's just go over this and talk a little bit about this and get my thoughts and feeling on it. Okay, again, just like the Silver Tower, you have the cards where they break down everything for you. And of course, you will roll your 4 dice and assign them to the card. These are your actions. Now, depending on what you have on this dice, you can actually, it will depend on what weapon you use. Right here, for just to use the halberd, you can use anything with a 1 and above. So any dice is available for you to use. So you would take this and roll it and have to beat 4, which I did not, which would be a complete miss. But if he got 4, he would be able to do 2 damage to the enemy. The enemy will have a certain amount of damage, and once he accumulates that damage, he is removed from the board. On the other side, they will take their weapons and they will roll against our heroes here. If they should happen to hit, he would have a chance to save. He has a 4+ save. Well, he would fail. He would take a wound. What that would do is take away a die. So instead of that, we would put down a wound there. He can heal a wound by removing a dice, which would remove a wound. Or there are other ways to heal. Sometimes, if you lose all your wounds, and all your dice, and attribute 4 wounds and +1, because it would automatically mean you're done, and you would not be able to use this pool, which we'll talk about in a minute, then you would be refreshed. You would come back all together, but any kind of skill cards or anything like that, you would not be able to use. Now, in this game, there are just a ton of really, really neat cards and stuff like that, and treasures, and I don't want to spoil any of them, but you get skill cards as you level up. It's a little closer to the original Warhammer Quest, and it is not a co-op. You have a dungeon master, so he's always plotting against you. At the beginning of your very turn, which is a little bit different here, you're going to roll these dice. Okay, and as you can see here, I've got 2 2s, which would be eliminated, and 2 6s, which would be eliminated, meaning that you would only get 1 destiny dice for anybody to use, which is basically an extra action or a way to use an extra power. Now, if I happen to roll another 6 there, a full house, then you would have an unexpected event, and you would roll on a chart. I am not going to show you the quest book, because the quest book is very important to the Dungeon Master, and it gives away everything about the entire game and the story. A very enriching story. They built this back around the original Warhammer Quest, but it still has a bit of the Silver Tower. It seems to be a little confused, but we'll talk about that a little later. The big selling point, of course, are the gorgeous models that GW does. I mean, they do some fantastic, gorgeous stuff, and just fun to paint this stuff up and just have a great time at putting this all together. You have to go down with all 4 guys, so if you're only playing with a couple of people, then they're going to have to run multiple characters. That can drag out a little bit, and sometimes if you're the Dungeon Master, it seems like things can drag on a little bit. But we will talk about that up top. So without further ado, let's get my final thoughts on Warhammer Quest: Shadows over Hammerhal. Wow. Here's what I have to say about it. I like the idea that they're taking and they're leaning a lot more to the old Warhammer Quest. But there's still that Silver Tower element into it. The one thing I found playing as the Dungeon Master, if you go check out our live video of what we did with it, I found that there were times that they were going through and they take all their movement and I'm kind of sitting there, and then I'd read maybe a line in the book and then I'd roll my dice. Oh, no random encounter. Okay, next. They take their whole turn again, go into, and that's the first level, which I think just got off to a slow start. I think my thing is, you know, you're getting closer to what Warhammer Quest is. You're borrowing things from the Silver Tower, which is fine. Why not just reprint Warhammer Quest? Why not do it? The thing is with this is you play it through once, and if you play with the same group all the time, you're not going to play it again. It's not going to be, well, let's try a harder difficult, because you know what's going to happen in the rooms and stuff. There's no randomness to it. I like to see some randomness in it. You know, maybe the next one they do it. I don't know. Again, just reprint Warhammer Quest. I like the role-playing aspect of it. I like how you go into town. That's just what Warhammer Quest was. I would love to see more of that, but again, they want to change everything. I love the miniatures. The miniatures are gorgeous. Well, I mean, I'll show you even some more. I mean, these are just fantastic. I mean, it's what you expect from Games Workshop. I mean, let's call it as we see it. It's Games Workshop, Chaos, Tanish. You know, all these just wonderful, wonderful, cool figures that they do. Well, there goes that guy. But I mean, honestly, another thing is that there's nothing really new as far as the figures. I mean, you're kind of using figures from Silver Tower a bit. We've already seen the Chaos Blood Reavers from Age of Sigmar. I would have liked to see some new designs in there, maybe a little bit. Some spiders, some bats, some things like that. You know, just like the old Warhammer Quest. Maybe I'm just impartial to the old Warhammer Quest, but let's be honest, I am. But all in all, I'm going to give this game, I'm going to give it a strong 4. It is fun. The big problem, it would be a 5 if there was just some replayability. It really just needs a little bit more. I think maybe, again, I'm being a little more favorable because I am very soft to the... I'm a sucker for a good dungeon crawl. It's fun right now, but the replayability, I just don't think's there. I could almost drop it down to a 3.5 if I didn't have so much fun playing, painting the models, putting it together. Being the dungeon, it seemed Janice and Mike were having a lot of fun playing it. I just, as the Dungeon Master, I think that's the only guy that really kind of loses a little bit out of the experience unless things really get going a little farther down the line. So right now we're just going to give it a 4. I do like it. I do think it's worth to get it. I think it's worth painting. The components are beautiful, as you saw. But pretty much all in all, you know, just reprint the old Warhammer Quest. I'll pay the $300. Believe me, it's a big set. That's okay. I would. Just do it. Don't be afraid. GW, hear me. Hello. Well, that's it for now. Until next time, I'm Rob Warren. Sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, videos, and written reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, online gaming superstore, thousands of games and minis, discount prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.